Welcome back everyone to episode 8, season 2 of the Kenshi Let's Struggle. In this episode we're continuing with Harold heading to go grab some supplies for the base. Meanwhile at the base we got the same old going on, imp lords clearing out random bandit groups that are running around. We now have a lot of bandit groups attacking us because Fort Harold was so big. So one of the dust bandits that actually managed to live, I wanted to heal up so that way we could use him for training. Now we still had the white eyebrow guy that was in the cage from the last episode, so I went through the dialogue with him, and it seems like his dialogue is basically the same as the Black Ninja's dialogue. This is most likely because, well, it's a mod, so they probably just copied the same data from the Black Ninjas or whatever. But if you need to know how to unlock them through speech, there it is. I named the white eyebrow guy McQuan after a viewer of a series, and when checking out McQuan's stats, he's got a lot of toughness and melee defense. He's also got a bit of strength, dexterity, and melee attack, which is really good. So he'll be a pretty decent unit to have around the base. We're starting to produce more cactus and wheat straw, so I know I'm going to need somewhere to be making bread and cactus rum. So I settled on putting a storm house next to the farm right there. That way I could put the distilleries and ovens in there. Now I had Ant traveling with Harold, but he got stuck on the way back. I don't know how this happens, but it happens quite a bit. Very fun, just had to reset squad positions and boom, everyone's back at the base in a fucking cluster. Now I keep on running into the same problem with Imp Lord or the ant trying to eat alive our prisoners, so I have to try and send them somewhere else. I'll put in a few more cages, that way if we want to kidnap some more people soon, which I do want to, we'll be able to do so. And our food supplies are going to be good for the next couple days at least. Most of our people were starving, so it's nice to have some food back at the base. Either way though, you know, we take the guy out of the cage and then put him in a bed, and what happens? Fucking imp lord comes over and the ant to try and eat him. So I gotta try and send them, you know, a good fucking kilometer away, just stay the fuck away from him. And then, because the nomads and drifters are all about, there's more processor units that I don't even control. So one of them tries to start eating him, so I just need to pick him up, take the bed, put it inside, and then do that. This game mentally fucks with you, I swear. But setting up the training group, I would have Harold, Evan, 4 skeletons, Skeleton Fox, Arpo, Erocative, and Wet Axo all together train up different weapons, and Wet Axo training up martial arts. With the training weapons we've made that are 0 damage, we're able to basically just train infinitely unless someone else goes in and knocks someone out, you know. We're pretty good to train like this. Trying to do this the first time, I forgot to take the sword off of the bandit, so I had to knock him out again, put him back, and wait for him to recover. Meanwhile, we were pretty much full on our iron storage now, which is great, but I'm just going to put down a couple more iron storages, that way we can keep on producing more. Once we finally got the bandit awake and recovered, we could train up Harold and the 4 skeletons. All of our stats are mostly around the 20s to 30s, so I'm hoping to get them up to maybe the 60s to 70s. Meanwhile, because I have to put everyone in the base on passive, we're running into problems with random, you know, beak things and bandits trying to come and take over, so knocking them out is a huge goal. So we're going through the initiation process, you know, showing this guy the ropes, what it's like to be a Haryoung. We're already starting to run out of food, so I had to send B02 and the ant back to the way station with some copper. That way we can go and get some food and get rid of some stuff. Meanwhile, the Black Ninjas showed up, and this was a pretty big group of them. And seeing as I had 5 of my stronger units training, this would be quite a task. Now, Imp Lord just sort of knocked out most of them in one hit, and this is when I sort of decided, okay, this isn't really helping me, this isn't really helping anyone, this is taking away the struggle. I think Imp Lord's a little bit too OP to be going against these giant groups of bandits and shit, so what I'm going to do is put right behind Fort Harold a large gate, followed with a huge wall, so basically I can put Imp Lord and maybe whatever beasts or something I have that are just too OP to keep around and put them in there. That way the people in our base can keep on getting their stats trained up and melee defense and shit like that. They can't do that when Imp Lord's one-hitting everything. We're now running into problems where there's a stupid amount of starving bandits just around the base. I wasn't sure what was causing this at first. You know, I had random units trying to go and take out the starving bandits, but it seemed like every one bandit I took out, another 2 appeared. That's because they're moving into the houses that I'm setting up with no lights. They're just like setting up like shop there with dozens of them. So I did have Implore go around and clear out the starving bandits just because they are a nuisance. And at this time, my computer is running like half as slow. There's like hundreds of dead bodies around just because of all the fighting that has been going on. But Harold and the skeleton's stats are at least getting up a little bit, which is good. But unfortunately, B01 and Ant ran into a group of the Holy Nation. They made it to the way station. I guess they're just chilling there. So the Holy Nation spotted them and began combat. Now, they ended up fighting with trade hub people, and this led to them basically being eaten alive by skin spiders and taken out. So that's at least good. On a not good side though, there was no food at the bar, so all I could really do was pay for a skeleton bed to repair B02's limbs. Now over at the base, I noticed that the people that we had training were just no longer training anymore. And the person that we were beating up the entire time was fucking gone. Like, I couldn't find him anywhere. So I'm guessing maybe one of our units attacked him or something, or he just glitched out and you know, went to a different dimension. And while yeah, that does suck and we don't get that new recruit, Harold is now at least hitting for 119. You know, I've seen 130 a few times. He's doing way better than he was before. He was doing like probably 60 before. Now he's way well off. Once B02 was all healed up though, he could run back to the base with the ant. And I'm going to be trying to set up more of these cactus farm XLs, that way we can get more cactuses going. Now I had a lot of weapons, a lot of ore, and a lot of stuff that I needed to get rid of somehow, so I set up this building right here where I'm going to be putting in shop counters. With these I can throw stuff in them, and the people that wander around Fort Harold will go in and buy shit. There's a couple beak things around, so I was able to get some food for the time being. By cooking the raw meat over a campfire, you can get some dried meat, so I was able to keep everyone fed for another day or so. But I now had a new problem. There's a lot of people at the base now, so have to go to get better at micromanaging, as there's like 3 people right now that don't have left arms. One day hopefully we'll get that figured out, but in the meantime Harold is going to Squint, that way he can grab some food. There's none at the way station, and there's not many materials he can grab there either, so he's at least able to stock up on a bunch here. Then back at the base, by putting all of the weapons and other things that we wanted to trade onto our processor tank, and then putting those all into the shop counters, I was able to fill up like both of them. One of them with a bit of iron and the other one with some weapons and stuff. Now Harold was still on his way back though, and when crossing the swamps he was going by a lot of blood spiders. Even though he was encumbered though, he was just able to outrun them with his wheel leg. Very lucky indeed. And then back at the base, we got the rest of the research trees set up, so anything that just requires books is now being researched. Now we had our first bandit attack since setting up of Beak Thing's little base, and the only problem is that now we're going to that gate, so I'm gonna have to try and figure out how to connect it or make them go back to the gate out front. But either way, Harold was doing great. He's mostly one-hitting a lot of the dust bandits and weaker units that don't have too much armor, as well as any hit just doing a massive amount of damage. He's definitely one of the stronger units in this world right now. When going to check one of the storm houses, we noticed there's a beak thing inside, and he was actually able to take this thing out all on his own. One fucking single-handedly taking down a beak thing. With this, Harold decided he would get some rest, and the next day would be huge, as he was going to bring the fight back to the Dust Bandits, but instead of dragging anyone along with him, he would be going solo to the Dust King Tower in attempts to take down the Dust King. The things that we have put in the shop counters are starting to get sold slowly. A lot of the people are broke, so that's very unfortunate, but hopefully we'll get more things sold as time passes. After only a few hours though, Harold was able to make it into the border zone where he found the Dust King Tower and was on the outskirts of it. Now, there's about 37 dust bandits approximately there, and by running around a hill over to the gate and attempting to smash it, he knew that it would take way too long to smash and just be easier to lockpick it. There's harpoons flying by him, and one of them actually hit him in the leg, and they do quite a bit of damage, so he was already not at a good position. Even with that though, the first dust bandit that tried to fight him just got one hit to the stomach in no time. But when trying to fight more of them, it's just proven to be too difficult. All these dust bandits fighting at once, they were able to disable his one arm along with just having people at the turrets. It was almost impossible for Haryoung to solo this by himself. So wounded, it'd be better off for him to run back to the base instead of trying to take down the rest of the dust bandits. He'd take down a couple, but he'd have to return maybe a different day. We finally got the last wall set up on Imp Lord's little base here though, so that's great. We can now keep him trapped, or not really trapped, just caged in here because he's a fucking monster. Meanwhile, Haryoung was finally able to get back to the base and lie down. Now, with his injuries, the 5 skeletons, B02, Arpo, Erocrative, Wetaxo, and Skeleton Fox gathered to see him knocked out basically. And they couldn't stand for this, and they're tired of the Dust Bandit raids too, so instead, those 5 would go together to the Dust King Tower to take them down in revenge in honor of Haryoung. Leaving Fort Haryoung, they're off to the border zone to meet the Dust King. Meanwhile, I had problems with the bug people that I had. They were all just going like really down south for no reason, and this led to Blunt Bug dying. Now I have no idea where Blunt Bug went. I looked around for him and just couldn't find him, so rest in peace, Blunt Bug, you will be missed. Haryoung needed to get stronger, so by sparring with a swamp ruffian, this is how he would do so. Meanwhile, the 5 skeletons had finally arrived at the Dust Bandit camp, and the door was already open from Haryoung's last visit, so they were able to basically storm the base pretty easily, but Wetaxo would go down first in no time, and then the rest of the group would be left to fight the 30 or so bandits. Even though they all have some really good stats, they still don't have that great dodge or skills that can really help them fight, 5 to 10 people at once. Erocrative and Arpo would go down basically at the same time, just leaving Skeleton Fox and B02 to fight the rest of the bandits. Now, an amazing effort though, B02 would not go down. He was getting injured and his leg was basically disabled after a certain point, but he was giving the fight back to each of the Dust Bandits, able to take down most of them with just a few hits. Even though he was slow and basically limping across the battlefield and couldn't even heal himself, he was still holding his own against whatever Dust Bandits were running towards him, and he needed to, as the Dust Bandits were capturing the other 4 skeletons and enslaving them, putting them in cages, taking their weapons and their armor. Luckily though, B02's a fucking beast, and he goes ham, ends up taking down the rest of the Dust Bandits that were outside. Like, even when they got hits in on him, they're doing basically no damage. And in a one-on-one battle, B02 is just too fierce. He's almost twice as bigger as most of these Dust Bandits, so you can see why they stand no chance. Limping up the stairs slowly though to go and save the other 4 skeletons. But to have those 4 try to pick their locks out to cause a distraction, while B02 could make it up the stairs to fight the Dust King, in which the Dust King couldn't even land a single hit onto B02. While everyone else was captured and fell down, B02 was able to take down dozens of Dust Bandits as well as the Dust King single-handedly with the assistance of other 4 skeletons, definitely stealing the spotlight in today's episode. But we were finally able to get everything sorted out, so most of the armor dropped or left on the ground where our skeletons were, but there was a lot of armor from the Dust Bandits that were around. The Dust King had the 2 My-2s on him, as well as some pretty fair and decent armor on him too, so I was able to get the 5 skeletons quite a bit of decent loot, even Skeleton Fox a new My-2 class weapon off one of the Dust Bandits outside, and I also took home anything else that I thought I could probably give to someone else at my base. Now the best loot we did get from here was a few backpacks and a little bit of goods and food. That's about it, at least we got backpacks on everyone from this tower. But with that, we'll be taking the Dust King to Squin because he has about a 39k bounty, which will definitely help us out in advancing Fort Harold. But that's about it. That's where I wanted to end off the episode. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content. As always, thank you guys for all of the support too on all the videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.